want to go ahead now and bring in Chief John Fitzgerald from the Keego Harbor Police Department. Chief, thanks for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.
Morning, Ronnie. Good morning, Tyler.
So, Chief, you have 20 plus years in law enforcement. When you see these incidents, what is the first thing that goes through your heart and through your mind?
Through my heart and through my mind is that the proper justice system will be followed. That if people have done something wrong, they will be held accountable. If they've not done something wrong, that people will be patient enough to do things the right way. It's America. We have the right to protest and come out and have our voices heard. And the police, the police community, we have a obligation to make ourselves better, to get better training, to learn what we have to do right out here, and to listen to our constituents, our people, because we're here to serve them.
Is there pressure from you as a leader of a police department that when things like this happen to get in front of the cameras and respond to the public without knowing the facts? Because with cell phones and with social media, misinformation can spread so quickly that it can be damaging as well.
I think you have to get out as soon as you have the facts, but you can't jump out in front without the proper facts, because if something turns up that you thought was something that happened and you're wrong, then it looks like you were trying to either lie about it, cover up something, misinform people. So you want to have the facts before you get out there. I'd like to say that I compliment Chief Craig in Detroit. He does a great job of being out there with things to inform people. And I try to do that in Keego Harbor. If we have an incident, I try to let people know through our Facebook page what happened, so that they understand what the police department does. And like I said, we're here to serve them. We're not here to lord over them.
Yeah, I will say that's one thing about Chief Craig is he has a great relationship with the community as well as members of the media. When they had the incident a few weeks ago where the gentleman was shot and killed after firing shots at the police department, things were getting out of hand because misinformation was spreading like wildfire through social media. And he was able to get that video out within a few hours of the incident. I understand. Keego Harbor, you guys have do you have body cams at this time?
We do not have body cams right now. That's actually something we're looking into the acquisition of. We have cameras in our cars, and the officers have a microphone on their uniform that attaches to those cameras. But body cams is something we're looking into the acquisition of, and finding a way to pay for them.
Yeah, that's got to be hard because the conversation right now is about defunding police departments when you do need that additional equipment. I know that one of the big things with the body cameras is the storage of the video. You know, that's one of the costly parts, and how long do you store it for as well. So do you have a ballpark on what that would cost the department?
We've looked into things. We're waiting for a couple other actual proposals to us. It is expensive. It'd be a large portion of our budget, and prices for us have gone up to, I think one of them was almost in the $40,000 range, which is, for a department this size, is giant. But like you said, storage is the other part. Paying for the storage, how are we going to store it, who's going to have access to it. Then on top of that, there's rights of privacy for the people that get filmed on your body cameras. When you have those on, you go into people's homes. Nobody has a right to see inside other people's homes on these cameras, but people will file Freedom of Information Acts on police departments to get all this footage. So now you have to have somebody that has the time to redact people's faces, insides of people's homes. There's all kinds of information that has to be redacted out of that. And that's another expense and challenge with those. It very well could be well worth it to have it. And I know that with our police video cameras, the in-car video cameras, since we got them back in my days when I worked at Southfield Police Department, and having them here, they do a great job of holding the officers accountable, protecting the citizens, protecting the city of Keego Harbor's liability itself, and the best thing I like to say in my 34 years of doing this, once we got the cameras, it actually proved the officers did the right thing in the vast majority of cases, even when people came in to make a complaint on them. And you could go back and review the video. And also, it upheld some complaints, but very few of them.
Chief John, excuse me, Fitzgerald, Keego Harbor Police Department, as you mentioned, you were with Southfield PD for so many years prior to coming to Keego Harbor. What's the difference between policing the two communities? Southfield, obviously, much larger, Keego, a smaller community. What's the difference been like for you?
Big difference is the amount of staffing you have, but you're still dealing with people and their problems, and people calling us to be their problem solver in both cities. I think that to me and to the officers, it's important that we're just treating people like people. Everybody, I try and put myself in their position if I needed the help of the police department, empathetic with them. And, everybody's a person that has a problem, and if we can help, that's what we're trying to do. Sometimes we have to take enforcement action that's helping everybody else by us enforcing. And people aren't happy with that when we do it. When they get arrested, they get a ticket. But big city or small city, you still have to remember you're dealing with people and their emotions and their problems and what's going on in their life. And when they meet a police officer, if they call for the police, it's probably one of the most important times of their lives right then. And as an officer, you've been to so many of these runs back and forth, and you have to keep that in your mind that, you know what, you wear the uniform every day. You're used to it. You're used to the guys that you work with wearing the uniform. When you come to somebody's house, they're not used to having a police officer there. And try and remember that this is, no matter how big or small this call for us is, it is the most important thing to them right then.
Chief, right now a lot of kids are returning to school. This week has been the start of school in the West Bloomfield School District, which includes a school in Keego, a couple of schools in Keego Harbor. What are some of the challenges that presents from a public safety standpoint, returning kids to in-person learning, especially in the situation now where in the elementary level in West Bloomfield, there are cohorted levels where there's going to be multiple instances of people bringing their kids and taking their kids from school throughout the day?
You've got it right. It's a change. All the other years it was drop off in the morning, pick up in the afternoon. Now they have a drop off and then a pickup, a little time in between, then another drop off, another pickup. We're going to be out there as much as we can, the same as we have in the past. We're out there to slow people down around the schools. We're doing patrols around the schools as the kids arrive and as they leave. Even though the school zone signs haven't changed, they're still posted for the original hours. Keep this in mind that we may have a police car in the center turn lane with the overheads flashing. There's a Michigan state law that when you approach an emergency vehicle with the flashing lights on it, you have to slow down to 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. Cass Lake Road in front of Roosevelt School is 35 miles an hour. Police cars out there with lights on, you have to slow down to 25 miles an hour, which is coincidentally the same as the school speed zone speed limit. So when you see us out there, slow down. When you see kids out there, even if you don't see us, please slow down. And then we have Abbott School, which is actually in the city of Orchard Lake, but it's right on our border. We do a little extra patrol around there. Unfortunately, a couple of people got tickets this morning. One of our officers was out there and very vigilant about traffic enforcement today. We don't want to write the tickets. We're not trying to hide behind billboards and be a speed trap on anybody. We're putting ourselves right out there in a marked car with the lights flashing. When you see that, please slow down. We just want to keep the kids safe out there. And we do have some extra challenges with the different hours this year. We were trying to work in conjunction with the schools, and they've got their hands full with how they have to handle their protocols. But we're trying to be there for them.
Chief John Fitzgerald with the Keego Harbor Police Department. You kind of mentioned Orchard Lake and it being on the border. I think one of the good things that's about being a small department is there is so much cooperation between the area police departments. How important is it to have that relationship? I know you all have mutual aid where if you need it, the backup from the other communities is going to respond as well.
It's absolutely essential. And the thing is, we have great relationships with our community, our local police departments. We have the chiefs, we get together at least once or twice a week to meet and talk things over. All our officers know each other. We work well with West Bloomfield also. And, we don't have to invoke mutual aid because we're there to back each other up and help take care of each other. And we border each other. So we share a radio channel. We know what's going on and we help each other out. And it is essential that we work well together. And I think we really do.
Chief, just a couple more minutes here with you on the Oakland County MegaCast. Just this morning, Detroit police officers were targeted in a drive-by shooting at Telegraph and 6 Mile. How worried are you during these times about officer safety? But on the backside of that, the talk is about from the community not feeling safe from police officers. What do you want the public to know on both sides of these issues?
Well, as far as us not being safe, we try and be vigilant every minute of our jobs. We understand there's a threat to us out there. And, people will spit out statistics and say, well, yours isn't the most dangerous job by statistics. A fisherman in the Bering Sea has a more dangerous job than certain construction workers. But aside from the U.S. military, we are the only job where people go out of their way to attempt to harm us or kill us. So we have to be vigilant and trained and ready for that. But still, once again, we can't treat everybody like they're trying to hurt us. Now, as far as the citizens, please remember, I don't know any officers that come to work hoping they get to hurt somebody or kill somebody. That's not what we're doing. We're coming to work trying to protect society, serve society. Unfortunately, with our job, the way the laws are, they give us an immense power, and we have to use it if it has to be used. We have to be very careful and judicious about it and following the laws. Understand mistakes are made at times. People do the wrong thing, but people are people. And in every profession, you have people that shouldn't be in that profession. We're trying to weed them out here. We're trying to have the culture of you don't allow somebody that shouldn't be a police officer to wear a badge. Officers are looking out for that now. We're here to serve and we're here to protect. We're not here to hurt anybody. We want you to feel that you can call us. We want you to feel that if we pull you over, and I'll tell you what, if I get pulled over, and it's happened, I'm nervous myself. Not that I'm going to get hurt, but I'm just nervous because somebody with authority is coming up to my car. And I can understand somebody who's not a police officer, how much more nervous they are. But please remember, if you are asked to do something by a police officer and you think it's wrong, if you're being arrested and you go, I shouldn't be being arrested, don't fight them. If you're right, you're going to get to take them to court, and you very well could make some money on a civil suit, and nobody gets hurt that way. We don't want anybody hurt out here. We want cooperation. We want to keep the society safe. We want to do our job to serve the people as best we can. We've been given a huge power, and we want to use it right.
I'm glad to hear that you get nervous as well when a police officer comes up behind you, because I do too. Even if they're not pulling me over, I immediately check my speed and everything. You know what? You touched on one thing there, though. How hard is it to get rid of some of these problematic police officers? Because the union is a powerful ally of some of these people, and it makes it hard to fire them.
Well, the important thing is for the supervisors and command staff to do their job properly and document things in the proper way that it can be used to, if necessary, terminate someone from this employment. The biggest problem is when command staff and a chief doesn't do it right, that's when the union steps in and says, wait, it's like going to court on a court case, and the jury says, well, you know what? We're not going to find him guilty because you did something wrong in the way you presented the evidence or found the evidence. They have the rights that the union makes sure get enforced, and the arbitrators follow those same rules. I consider it like playing Monopoly. That there's a union contract and there's the laws. We have to follow the rules in order to make this all go right. And if we cross our T's and dot our I's when we have a problem officer, we can do a good job of getting rid of them. It's if we don't do our jobs as supervisors when we find out about a problem.
Chief John Fitzgerald with us on the Oakland County MegaCast across our family of TV and radio stations. Just to update, Chief, on the pandemic response. It's been a few weeks since we last spoke to you. Not much new in terms of laws that are in place, but compliance is always going to be something that the people are curious about. How have our businesses been doing? How have the people of Keego Harbor and those visiting been doing in terms of complying with the safety guidelines?
Well, a lot of people are confused of what guidelines are in place now. Our businesses are struggling, but you see on the doors of the restaurants and the stores that they have their mask signs. When I go into places, I've heard clerks and people ask people to put a mask on if they don't have one. Yesterday, I actually heard somebody, it wasn't in Keego Harbor, but I was in a business, and somebody came in without a mask, and they asked if he had a mask. He said, "No, I don't." "Well, can you please wait outside? I'll come out and help you out there in a minute." This is almost a voluntary thing that you have to play along and cooperate, because there's not enforcement around every corner and every store. And I look at it this way. Sometimes I don't feel like wearing a mask, but when I walk up to a store and a sign says you have to wear a mask to come in, do I want to put some 18-year-old store clerk in the position of having to come up and tell me that I have to put a mask on? I know they don't want to do it either. They don't want to have to step in and do that. So I just ask everybody to follow the rules as best you can. Somebody asks you to cooperate with the rules, don't make a fight out of it. Don't make an argument in a scene. Just do what you know you're supposed to do to get along in society. And that's the same thing with almost everything in society. If we just follow the rules and have respect for each other, things are going to go well. Now, for some of our businesses, I do worry about some, because even though they've reopened, like restaurants they're struggling even at full capacity. So I'm sure that some are still, even though they're open, they're at a reduced capacity is hurting their bottom line. And I hope we can keep all our businesses around.
Yeah, I wonder about that going into the winter months as well, because many have been able to extend their seating area outside to try to service more customers. But even in that, are you have you had to write any tickets to anyone or any businesses, or is that pretty much just the health department handling that side?
We have not written any tickets to anyone. We've actually had very little issue with it. And the last run I can think of that somebody even called us on about it, the person they were complaining about was working outside. It wasn't at a business, and that person didn't have to wear masks. So I know some people are very, very, very worried about the virus, and they want to be in a mask all the time. And that's what you have. That's how you take care of yourself. If you don't feel comfortable going out, then stay in. If you don't feel comfortable without a mask, wear your mask at all times. But there's times where other people don't have to wear a mask by this executive order. So don't be mad at them for not wearing a mask when they don't have to.
Chief Fitzgerald, always great having you here on the Oakland County MegaCast. Anything you want to touch on to let the people of Keego Harbor and the surrounding communities know before we let you go?
Well, just a reminder that school's back in session. Watch for the kids out there. The school times are not marked anymore properly because of the different cohorts coming and going from the school, but we'll be out there trying to keep them safe. Also, we got a couple more weeks left on the lake. It's not quite Labor Day yet. Remember the safety rules out there. Keep the speeds down around the other boats. No wake zones within 100 feet of swimmers, docks, anchored boats. We don't want to have any tragedies on the lake as school kicks in here and the summer's coming to an end. It's been a pretty safe summer on Cass Lake and Sylvan Lake for us. Let's finish on a strong note, and everybody have a good time. Enjoy the good weather while it's here, and have a great weekend.
We have had great weather this summer. Thank you so much, Chief Fitzgerald with the Keego Harbor Police Department, for joining us.